we will be beginning now. So can I just get a thumbs up for everyone who can see my screen? It could be virtual or real. Thank you, Fangang. Okay, so let's begin now. Elizabeth Warren once remarked that a good education is a foundation for a better future, and I cannot agree more. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today, talking about education, but most importantly, our future. Today's webinar will be all about education, but with a minor twist. There is a student organizing it. For those of you who don't know me, I am Sadhika Kapoor, the founder of a new initiative called Ticket from the Future. And before we dive into the contents of today's webinar, I want to begin by thanking each and every one of you for being here, for being open-minded, and for giving this new initiative, this new idea a chance. And I hope that my efforts turn out to be worthy of your time. Okay, so let's start this webinar with something active, something to activate all the participants. So let's use the chat and type down who you think is the most important participant in education. Now, there are no options. Think creatively, and please type down your answers in the chat. You have 1 minute to do so. Thank you. Just repeat. Please use the chat. This is a warm-up activity to type down who you think is the most important participant in education.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, I can see some answers. Let's pick up. Okay, well, I see that a lot of people have mixed opinions. Most of them talk about students, so that's nice to hear. But let's see that through this webinar, if your opinions change, or even better, you get to broaden and deepen your understanding. Now, before I begin, I would like to talk about the name of this webinar today. It's called Start With Why, and this is an incredible book by a famous author and orator, Simon Sinek. And he says that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And today it is my mission to unite all of you together to think commonly about one belief of the education system. So now let's begin and I'll walk you through the table of contents. Now, since our theme today is why, I will start by answering the why of my organization or initiative, Ticket from the Future. You may not be familiar with this, but I'll go through that. And then I'll talk about what a student-friendly education system will look like and why we need one. And then we will have a wrap-up session, a conclusion. So through the introduction, I will be using a technique called the GRASP technique. Now, this is very helpful in introducing something new. So I hope that you learn something new through this. It stands for goal, role, audience, situation, and product. So this is what Ticket from the Future looks like on the Facebook page. And it is an initiative I founded on the 24th of October this year on the UN Foundation Day. And now let me talk about our goals. Our mission is to provide detailed, inspiring, and genuine content to educators and help design student-friendly education systems. Our vision is to create a student-friendly education system where every student has the ability to contribute to the methods of their learning. And in a nutshell, what we do is by the students for educators to achieve a student-friendly education system. And that is one word you will see a lot of times throughout my initiative discussions. So let me continue. Can you please mute yourself so that it does not echo?
Mute तो कर दिया.
Now I'll talk about the role of my organization. What is our duty? What do we do? Now, we do have a research professional here, Mr. Prashant, and as you may know, a catalyst is something that speeds up chemical reactions, but Ticket from the Future wants to be a catalyst for change. We want to speed up change. We will bring to you student-friendly learning methods, opinions of the student body, and personal learning lessons that I have learned throughout. And in this, we become a facilitator because I am just a student and I cannot change the education system alone. I need your support, and I need you to join me on my expedition. And as a facilitator, me and my initiative will provide the conditions for change. Like Albert Einstein said, he provides the conditions for learning. Let me talk about our audience now. Our primary audience will be educators, people who give education, and it will basically be to persuade them to change this and change their approach. Then we have the secondary audience, the students, because I need them to help join me, support me, and ask their educators for something more comfortable for them during their learning. And if you're not one of these, then please don't worry, but I do appreciate you joining here because I believe that education is very near and dear to all of us. And here's my rationale. All of us either must have been educated, are being educated, like Fangang and me, or we are giving education. So nonetheless, education is a part of our lives or has been a part of our lives. And today's education will determine how you live in 20 years from now when my generation grows up. And thus, it is undeniably important for you to take part in such activities. And I appreciate you joining today's webinar. Now let me talk about the situation. I would say that education is a three-way relationship, if you think about it. But only two of these participants are considered important, teachers and parents. And I'll give you some examples here. In the class, the person who makes a syllabus, who decides how you study, why you study, and even what you study are the teachers or educators. Outside of the classroom, at home, these are the parents, and they come together during parent-teacher conferences. But what stands out to me is that students are not anywhere near the cycle. Even a person who wants to go into a shop and buy something, they have their opinions. They have a choice. What kind of thing do they want to buy? What is the color? What is the price range? But here, the students don't have an opinion here. They don't have a say. And I strongly believe, my initiative believes that students should have a say in their education because this could revolutionize the education system and make it much more efficient and better. Now you might see here that I have two types of audiences, primary and secondary, which will be educators and students, but here I talk about a three-way relationship. Just to clear the confusion here, I will be focusing more on educators and students, but if you're joining as a parent or some other professional, then you're more than welcome and this means a lot to me. Thank you. Now I will talk about why we need a student-friendly education system, why making one is extremely important, and what are the flaws in today's education system. Now, before I continue, I want to see if everyone is still here with me. So can everyone please raise your hand if they're still here with me? Okay, Fangang, noted. Thank you, everyone. All right, we can continue now. Now, throughout this section, I will show you different video clips. I'll show you quotes. I'll show you pictures, and I will just discuss why a student-friendly education system is becoming more than important today. So here is a really funny video, just for giggles, but also for a very deep realization called Anyone, Anyone. And I was inspired to pick this from a webinar that I was attending from Miss Iwana. She is my mentor and my teacher. And let's just have a look at it together.
In 1930, the Republican control.
Is the audio okay? Can I have a thumbs up?
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the the Great Depression, passed the the tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which raised or lowered, raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone see?
Okay, we will pause over there. But what this talks to us about is that education depends not only how fast an educator can teach, but how fast a learner can learn. In a student-friendly education system, a teacher and educator will have different students working on their own pace. And today what is happening is that some students can get along with this pace. Some students like the teacher's method of teaching. They like how fast the teacher can teach. Some students just get along well with it. But there are some who do not like it or who find it too much stressful and they cannot upkeep with this. And what happens with them is that they lose the opportunity to learn. They lose knowledge and eventually they lose their grades. And then these people are called the bad performers in our education system. But the problem here is these people aren't even given the opportunity to perform because the teacher's method does not align with theirs. And when I say a student-friendly education system, I mean when the student is comfortable with the way they're learning. I would like to mention that we students, I'm a student, and I can admit that students do not know everything about how the world works. We are inexperienced in that field. But if there is one body that knows how students learn perfectly, that is the students themselves. We know our own methods of learning. We know what we feel comfortable with. And this is why we need this opportunity to shine in our own education. Let me continue. Now, this is academic pressure, and this is me before an exam. I am getting completely stressed up. I am scared of failing. And this at first might look funny, and I know a lot of students share these feelings, but I would like to remind you that one of the leading causes of death is heart disease, and that can be attributed to high levels of stress. In our present education system, students are being introduced to stress at a very young age, even at 12. And slowly, these people learn that stress has to become a part of their lives. I wouldn't say that stop testing students. It's important to know how much they're getting the concept, but this way it's completely unhealthy. In a student-friendly world, there will be three benefits. First of all, vulnerability. Students will be able to open up to their teachers. They will be able to tell them, I don't like this, or this is too much, or can you give me something more student-friendly? Can I get something less time-consuming because I'm busy today? This way, we will be able to create a student-friendly world. I'm sorry there, thank you. Another thing is when students have the ability to contribute to their own methods of learning, this pressure will not come because they know that they want to revise this, they can ask the teacher directly for that. They know that this method will work for them. They are not confused with what the teacher was teaching because they are customizing their own learning. And thirdly, if there is a student-friendly world or student-friendly education system, students wouldn't be scared of failing because learning will be valued more than memorizing facts just to get a good grade. Let me move forward. And this is a very well said quote, and I will read it out for everyone here. Our education system was developed for an industrial era where we could teach certain skills to our children, and they were able to use these skills for the rest of their lives working productively in an industry. I think the bottom line here is that the industrial era created such an education system which was used to produce factory workers. In the 21st century, we do not need factory workers. We already have machines. We do not need students who say yes to everything. We do not need students to follow instructions and learn to do it throughout their schooling. We need creative people, people who can put an end to world issues, people who can come up with creative ideas, people who can evolve technology. We need entrepreneurs. We don't need people who agree with everything that they're being taught. And that's why a student-friendly world or a student-friendly education system will give the students an opportunity to speak up, speak about their education. Something that I'm trying to do here. I want to give my honest feedback to my teachers so that they recognize the way I learn and prioritize it. So that will be my content delivery here today. These are just why I believe that, why my initiative and I believe that we need a student-friendly world. And now we shall be moving into the conclusion part of our webinar today. Before I take any questions for the Q&A session, I would like to show you one last video, and this is just for the giggles, but my question to you will be, do you want this to be the future of Generation Z? Because these are individuals who have been schooled and they were taught these important subjects, but they lost them over time. They could not retain that knowledge. And if we continue with a present education system like this is something that I'm worried about will happen to my generation as well. So please sit back and relax and enjoy this video.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Sorry. Good question, but I don't know.
I know this one.
Archimedes.
Archimedes.
I don't know. I remember some kind of geometrical designs when
Less than 50.
50.
30%. 11. 68%.
my God, you don't ask me all such questions or that.
Solid rock.
Black rock.
Soft rock.
Metamorphic, igneous, sedimentary.
Igneous, metamorphic, sedimentary. No.
No. No.
What is a preamble?
What is preamble called as?
It has the ring.
No idea. It's hot. Very hot.
Air.
William Wordsworth.
William Wordsworth.
Wordsworth? William Wordsworth?
100 years.
30 years. Sorry.
2000 years. Around 4 years.
100 years count karo.
So that's the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And now let's continue to our Q&A session. Please voice out any questions, concerns, comments, or even any feedback you have. And if you have raised your hand, then I would assume that you want to participate in this Q&A session. So Ms. Shireen, do you have a question for me? Okay, I will come.
Okay. Hi, Sadhika. Can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just want to say it was really wonderful, and you spoke so beautifully and got us a little bit of insight on what you kids are going through, though my one is really small, but it's really good to know. And I'm so glad that I joined you this evening. All the best to you.
Thank you so much. And I do hope that you will continue joining our webinars and just help my struggle for an education-friendly education system, and even for your son. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you a lot.
Mr. Prashant. Okay, I'll come back to you later. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Please raise your hand. Ms. Shireen, would you like to add anything else to that?
Sorry, I didn't do that. It just keeps coming up. I don't know.
No problem.
Okay, there you go.
Mr. Prashant, are you ready now? Can you? Okay, I'll come back to you again. Mr. Akash?
Well, I think you have shaken up quite a bit of parents and educators here, and everybody is hesitant enough to speak up and come up to your challenge, you know.
Thank you so much.
We are not used to it. We were raised the orthodox way. So give us some time to swallow the pill.
Yes, I
All the best.
That is why my initiative aims to do one weekly webinar so that this can be taken as food for thought, like Mr. Thierry mentioned in the chat. And like my teacher, Ms. Iwana, taught me, it's time we unlearn the orthodox ways and we evolve education to be efficient and better than the previous system.
In fact, I would like to listen out from your mentor, from your teacher, Ms. Iwana, on the concluding part.
Yes, please.
Sarika, can you see my hand? Thank you. Mr. Akash, thank you. This is how our host called you, and this made me so smile, I'm giggling inside. First of all, I would like to say thank you so much, and please promise me that there will be at least 12 webinars until you warm up and you get a little bit of tracking under your tires, because even if you have one person watching you, listening to you, it's worth doing, Sadika, because you are moving abstract ideas into verbalized, tangible thoughts and sentences. So this is extremely important. So keep on doing it, and don't really worry about recognition, understanding, or whatsoever that is happening now or in the near future. Just do it because you need to express yourself, and you need to deliver your thoughts and your emotions and your reflections. So thank you very much for doing it. I can see a lot of work here. Everything is your design, everything is your idea, everything is put together by you with your very hard work, creative work, extremely important work. So I do want to recognize it, and I really see the huge value in it. It's priceless what you're doing. I can't even find criteria for it. I can only create my own criteria for you. My question is very simple, because questions are usually simple. The most difficult are answers. So questions are simple. There are no difficult questions, I would say. If you know the answer, it's an easy question. If you don't know the answer, it's a difficult question, right? So we all know that there is a problem about education. There's maybe not a problem, there's an issue that education is hanging behind us, is not developing or adapting as fast as human beings are adapting and developing. So Sadika, you just put this elephant in front of us. We cannot ignore the elephant in the room anymore. But do you know how to fix it? Because we know there is an issue. We know it's not all, bed of roses. So how to fix it, darling? This is important, I think. I hope that you will be talking about it in your new webinar, the next webinars. This is what I wanted to say. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nawana. And a quick answer to your question will be, this was a new challenge for me as well before starting my initiative. And I learned that if I want to speak for the student-friendly education system, it has to come from a student. And for that, I came forward and I wanted to give genuine and honest feedback to my educators about what I feel about their systems, because this change will not be overnight. We have to build it over time. And I look forward to having students join me, like Fungang and others, like she has joined us today. I'm very happy for that. When students join us together, they'll be able to better convey their message to the educators, because this is a new idea for me as well. And we will all learn about this together. Thank you. And through my weekly webinars, I will be touching on one topic per week, and slowly, creating this big idea of a student-friendly education system and how it can be achieved in your approach in your classroom.
Okay, Sadika, I understand. Is it possible to ask you one more short question?
Yes.
I have a short question this time. I'm just trying to see whether you've been thinking about it. How do you see Ticket from the Future in 1 year time? What is going to happen with Ticket from the Future and your organization on the 11th of November 2022? Project your vision to us. How do you see yourself developing here and growing? What would be the pace? How many educators or interested people in the audience? Give us numbers. Address those goals. Send them out there to cosmos, galaxy, so that you attract good fortune.
Thank you so much for that question. In 1 year from now, I want to create a student community of at least 50 students who are passionate about this issue and who want to help solve it. In 1 year from now, I should have done at least 12 webinars, as you were saying. because this is an issue that matters to me. Education is very near and dear to me, and the more I am putting effort into it, I am contributing and helping solve the problem. And in 1 year from now, I will like the support of at least 20 educators who are working with me and my team to provide this to their educator friends. Apart from that, I wouldn't set any limits on my initiative because I wanted to grow and I wanted to grow beautifully. Thank you so much. Do you have any follow-up questions, Ms. Awana?
Thank you. No, I didn't ask questions. Your dad said that we all come from this prescriptive education. It wasn't the issue. I had always a lot of questions. I wanted to give a microphone, let's put it like this, to all the participants here. So I wanted to hear other people's opinions, because it's extremely important that you or I or Mr. Thierry or your dad, people who are speaking, and this lovely lady, I can't remember her name, that we are not alone, that actually we have support from most, I think, because education is the most important element of our lives. Actors, doctors, lawyers, shoemakers, artists, plumbers, cooks, they were all at school. So education bridges us all, and everybody should support the development and growth and movement and evolution. Maybe I'll call it like education and revolution. Maybe it's not a nice word, maybe it's not very politically correct, but I don't really care about it anymore. Supports this movement, and so which means now I would say a lot of people should support you and your charity.
Thank you very much. So does anyone else have any questions, concerns, comments before we move on? Okay, I will suppose that I can move on now. Now, I have made it a ritual in every webinar that I need to give you an exit ticket. So like my organization, my initiative's name, Ticket from the Future, I will give you an exit ticket, something to ponder about, something to think about. And today I'm coming up with a food for thought question that will link to my next webinar, which is, do your students' emotions matter to you as an educator? If you are not an educator, then please try and apply this in your context, and please think about it, because I will be touching on this in my next webinar, and I hope to see you there. With that, thank you, everyone. This is the end of this webinar, and I will now be sharing the links to my my initiative's Facebook page, and also the ways you can contact us. But I am very happy that you attended, and we also have a feedback form that you can fill out, and feedback will be the greatest form of recognition for me. Thank you. Seeing that it's nearly 7:33, thank you so much for coming. I am deeply grateful to all of you, and now you may leave. But please don't forget to fill out the feedback form.